Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. Fred, I have a question. Let's get back to the mums.
Okay.
So popular. Everybody grabs them this time of year. They're at every grocery store, every hardware store. Everywhere you look, there are mums.
In almost every color but black.
Just about. I mean, they're so beautiful and just full of blossoms and everything. But when you go to buy one this time of year, you want to put out a mum. What do you look for in that plant?
Well, I look for two things, Mark. One is, let's just say, its overall appearance at that moment in time. And then I walk up closer to it or pick it up maybe and look at it. I'm looking for flowers that are going to give me some enjoyment right now when I take it home. I'm also going to be looking for buds that haven't opened yet. Their mums will appear to be in full bloom, and yet there are buds. Yes, flower buds actually standing or sitting or being attached right below the flower that's in bloom. And that will give me the clue that it's not finishing. It's just in peak bloom, and there will be secondary buds coming along over a period of time, probably clear up until freeze, where I will get a lasting blast of color, if you will. Now, I saw some the other day that I'm afraid somebody put in, watered once and then walked away, and that was it. Because the plant, the leaves were still, I'm going to call it okay, but the flowers had wilted, and I think they had wilted beyond any recovery, and that's just simply too bad. Where looking at that plant in a place to buy it, you would know that it's, has not been tended properly. And that's one of the things also that you have to watch for. It doesn't take you long to get your eye adjusted from anywhere from just seeing the display to walking up to them. The buds will be the tip buds will be in bloom, should be in bloom right now, full bore. And then there will be, as those start to wilt, there should be secondaries that come on. Even to the extent, if you wanted to take the time, snippers or a sharp thumbnail, you could cut off the flowers that are showing as being spent, and that will, number one, allow the ones below it to be seen better, and it will force them to come along a little quicker.
Now, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and they had them right by the door. They put them right by the front door. I saw one, and I just use an old phrase, as big as a bushel basket, as they say, and it did not have a blossom on it. It was all just the little buttons ready to pop out. Is that a good one to buy?
Well, yes. Now, I would say you'd have to make a judgment, because the little buttons may indicate that it is delayed to the point you won't see color before the freeze hits.
Oh.
That's a possibility. However, mums are a peculiar plant, less peculiar than they used to be because of all the breeding and so on. But it's interesting to know that when how do I put this? Mums are going to set bud, and I always tell people, pinch them until the 4th of July and then quit. Because soon after the 4th of July, we're past the longest day of the year, and mums set flower buds based on the shortening of the day starting on June 21. So, when they start to set buds, it's a progressive thing. And then when the buds are even set, it's a progression of when do they start to bloom. In other words, mums are photoperiodic, is the term. They will set their buds, and then they will bloom in 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11, 12, and so on. The big mums that you will buy from a florist are specially grown for the bouquet flower type thing and so on. They will be one of the varieties that bloom quite rapidly after the bud initiation. Then their outdoor plants will usually be in the 8 to 12 week period of growing, setting flowers, then the flower buds opening and so on. And it's nice if you can talk with the person at the nursery, garden center, etc., or the florist for that matter, and see if you can get them to help you with picking plants that bloom at different times. A hard freeze will stop flowers, the flowers of the mum. But if it's just frost, if it's a protected thing that's, let's just say not out where it's going to be bone chill frozen, there will be bloom possible into November on chrysanthemums. It's a little complicated to try to explain right now, but it's still a matter of how many weeks after the bud is initiated that it comes to flower. And the outdoor types are usually the ones that are, timed by Mother Nature and the grower so that they bloom at specific times.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Hauer and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com